Customized division with Wayne Gretzky, Hakan Lube, and last year's Stanley Cup winners, the Edmonton Oilers. You'll see the Norris division with Steve Yzerman of Detroit and Dennis of Chicago. The Adams division, Montreal's all-star defenseman Larry Robinson and super sniper Pierre Turgeon of Buffalo. And you'll see the Patrick division, where Home Team Sports brings you Lemieux and Hextall. You'll see Cicerelli, Langway, Stevens, Ridley, Courtnall, and every Capitals home game throughout the playoffs. Finally, hockey's best teams face off in May in the Stanley Cup Championship. And you'll see every game right here and nowhere else on Home Team Sports.
Pirelli radials are original equipment on the world's finest cars, and you can get Pirellis at Merchants Tire and Auto Centers. Merchants will start mounting your Pirellis in 29 minutes or less. No long waits and no extra charge for custom wheels. So imagine the traction you'll get with Pirelli P77s, and imagine how fast you'll get them. Thank you. At Merchants Tire and Auto Center.
Service that you trust, guaranteed.
Merchants Tire and Auto Center.
In the Tidewater area, you know the Henry Johnson Tire and Auto Centers.
And in Durham, you know the Rigsby Tire and Auto Centers.
Well, they're all part of the Merchants Group,
where you can get service that you trust, guaranteed.
Michael Pivonka, Washington Capitals. Hip check.
Oh, yeah.
George and Company, Big and Tall Men's Shops. The best fit.
Howard tries to wrap it around. Back to the point for Langway. Keeps it into Howard. A deep, a shot, and a goal! A scoreless first period here at the Capitol Center this afternoon, and the New York Islanders, the Washington Capitals, scoreless after one. Welcome back. I'm Jeff Rimmer. And as always, here in our first intermission during the regular season, we get a chance to visit with the Washington Capitals General Manager and Vice President David Poile. David, your observations of that first 20 minutes.
Well, I thought it was a good period for the Capitals. Again, a lot of scoring chances and not really giving up too many chances. Their young goaltenders played very well for them in that period. Again, territorially, we played real well. We had 3 power plays and don't have anything to show for it. That's you know, a little bit of makes me a little bit nervous. They're having so many chances, not being able to score. But again, we've been on the attack. We certainly have a lot of confidence. I'm sure carry over from our last game against the Flyers. And what we really need is just a couple of goals here to get us going.
Interesting to watch the New York Islanders out here at the Capitol Center this afternoon. Here's a hockey club that's won 4 Stanley Cups and, of course, going a new direction this season. A lot of youngsters that look like they could fit right in with this Islander hockey club and, again, make them a contender in the not-too-distant future.
Well, that's for sure. They've done an unbelievable transformation, if you will, from the teams that we remember with Mike Bossy and Dennis Potvin, etc. And today, without Brian Trottier in the lineup, I don't think they have any player that's older than their captain, Brent Sutter, who I believe is either 26 or 27 years of age, and that's a real young team. And I'm sure they're counting on and betting on that the young players that they have in their lineup with you know, experience of games in the NHL already this year and starting next year, you know, that they should be move up considerably from where they are this season.
David, over the last several games, we've talked about the club on the ice, but again, I think it's well worth mentioning here in the next to last home game of the regular season, yet another sellout. Here it is, Easter Sunday. The Washington Capitals with a late afternoon start celebrating yet another sellout. This is going to be a record year attendance-wise for the Washington Capitals. What a terrific story on and off the ice in this 88-89 season.
Well, it sure is. Again, you know, sometimes we have to look to our past, which not too distant past. About 7 or 8 years ago, when they had the Save the Caps campaign, when there was less than 3,000 season tickets, and it's very gratifying. And you know, we've got a lot of new and good fans, and we've also got a lot of fans that have been here for a lot of years, and for them, we're very appreciative of. And hopefully, we can reward their patience and their support by playing well for the rest of the regular season, and hopefully go a little bit further this year in the playoffs.
Maybe a bit of a commercial, but certainly for hockey fans here watching on Home Team Sports, certainly well worth mentioning that all the playoff games will be here on HTS. And I was talking to some fans after the last game, and the fans kind of shaking their heads and saying, hey, it's already Game 1 and Games 2 available for the Stanley Cup playoffs. We're having a hard time getting tickets. It won't be too long down the road when the Washington Capitals will rival the Redskins, not only on the field or on the ice, but at the gate, making it a very tough ticket in town.
Well, it's a little bit of a commercial, you're right, but Well, that's very nice. Again, I guess I'm always very cautious in making any forecast on that, but we've got a long way to go. I mean, we still only have around 8,000 season tickets, so you know we're only as good as our last game, as many people tell us in this business. And marketing has been a big part of our visibility here in the Washington area, and we're just trying to do the best we can, and hopefully it'll stay that way, and attendance will get even better next year.
And if Lou Strudler was here with David and I, he'd tell you if you want to guarantee your seats for all playoff games, you certainly can put down a deposit for next season's season tickets. So it gives you a chance to see all the games. And again, all the games will be telecast throughout the playoffs on Home Team Sports. The home games and the road games will be available to you through the auspices of Channel 20. So if you can't get here to the game or see the club on the road, you'll definitely be able to catch the game either home or away on television. Rod, our first caller, you're from Edgewater, and good afternoon.
How you doing? Dave, first of all, I want to congratulate you on a successful trade this year, a few weeks ago. Also, I'd like to know if and when you're going to retire Mike Gartner's jersey, and if we get first place, when would our banner be put up, this year or at the end of next year? Thank you.
Well, let's hope we get first place first. We'll answer that on the next show if it's applicable. As far as retiring numbers, again, that's something that we've never discussed in the organization. The only number that's been retired in this organization is Ivan LeBray, and that was done before I was here. So I really think that's more of an ownership decision than the general manager.
All right, Joe from Vienna, you're on Home Team Sports, and welcome.
Yeah, the first thing I'd like to say, it was a terrific game against Philadelphia. Wish we could keep it up. The other thing I'd like to ask is about the exhibition game in the Soviet Union. Could you tell me, do you take the full team and some reserves, or do you just call them in when needed?
Right. We'll be taking our full team to the Soviet Union. Basically, that is going to be our training camp. So what we have to decide is how many players we're going to take over there. And right now, we're probably leaning towards taking between 25 and 30 players. That'll be all of the players that you would see currently on our roster here, plus what we consider our best next prospects, either from Baltimore or from the junior ranks. And we'll have two camps, one that'll be here in Washington with the other players that stay behind, and our top 25 or 30 players will go to Russia.
And the Washington Capitol fans, in fact, we have one now from the Eastern Shore in Salisbury, Maryland. Welcome.
Hey, first of all, I'd like to say I enjoy watching the Capitals, and I want both of your comments on Rick Tocchet. I know everybody has roles in hockey, but I just watched the game the other night, and I feel like he's a dirty player, and there's a room for that in the National Hockey League.
David, he's certainly a physical player, a scrappy player, a needler, yet I don't think there's a general manager in the NHL that wouldn't want him on his hockey club.
Well, I think you're pretty accurate there. It's probably the player that you love to hate. Maybe there's some similarities to the Dale Hunter situation when I don't think he was a fan favorite here at the Capitol Center when he wore a Nordiques uniform, but he certainly has been a fan favorite and one of our better and more popular players on the team now that he's with the Capitals. Tocchet is a real competitor, and hockey's a physical contact game, and that's Rick Tocchet's game right there.
I think it was John Davidson last night on the WOR telecast between the Flyers and the Rangers that labels Tocchet right now the best overall right winger in the NHL.
Well, he's probably got the most versatility. In other words, he can score and he can play tough, and he can kill penalties, play the power play, and there's not too many players that have that much versatility.
Brian from Pasadena, your question or comment for the Caps GM?
Yes, I called earlier, and I was wondering if Sean Cronin will ever play for the Capitals.
Sean Cronin, will he ever play for the Capitals?
Well, Sean is playing down in Baltimore. He's played one game for the Capitals this year. What we're going to have to decide next week is which players we're going to call up for the playoffs and just how many we want to have at each position. Right now we're carrying 8 defensemen, and it's going to be a decision between myself and the coach staff exactly how many players we're going to carry. And, Sean could be one of those players, and if he is, then he certainly could get a chance to play.
David, thank you for the visit. We'll get one more visit with you during the regular season, and that will be Saturday night, so save all your comments for the last appearance here on Home Team Sports during the regular season.
Okay, Jeff.
Caps General Manager David Paul with us. Stay tuned. More of our first intermission and the second period's ahead on Home Team Sports.
Toyota 4x4. The bottom line 89 numbers versus Ford Ranger. After 1 year, Toyota 4x4s will save you up to $1,400 in costs over Ranger. Over 5 years, you'll save over $2,200. A few reasons why Toyota trucks carry a higher customer satisfaction rating than Ranger, making Toyota the #1 4x4 for the 9th straight year. There is one Toyota number that's not quite as big as Ranger, And that's the bottom line.
Have you seen Safeway's produce?
It's over your head, it's on every side. Mountains of veggies and fruit to the sky. Come take a look, come see the difference at Safeway.
Wherever you're shopping now, you haven't seen produce till you've seen the produce at Safeway. No store has more.
Come take a look, come see the difference at Safeway.
Remember when every song on the radio was your favorite? Oldies Radio, WQSR. The music that made you feel good then is making you feel good all over again. Oldies Radio, WQSR. Finally, a station that plays all oldies. Oldies Radio, WQSR FM 105.7.
Baseball is back in Washington. Celebrate a Major League weekend at the 3rd Annual MCI Baseball Classic as the Orioles take on 2 of the National League's powers. It's the Pittsburgh Pirates on Saturday, April 1st, and the St. Louis Cardinals on Sunday, April 2nd at RFK Stadium. Get your tickets at any Ticket Center outlet or call Phone Charge at 432-0200.
Washington Capitals game coverage on Home Team Sports is brought to you by Hardee's. We're out to win you over. And by Safeway, where you'll find the best selection of produce in town. Come see the difference. Capitals and the New York Islanders scoreless after 1 period of play. Washington outshoots New York 14 shots to 5. Mike Fornes and Al Coken welcoming you back once again to our live exclusive coverage here on Home Team Sports. Islanders have to be feeling pretty good about themselves, being 1 period into the game and still no score against them by the Capitals, and also doing pretty well in keeping the Caps off despite those many power play chances.
Thanks to Mark Fitzpatrick, great goaltending, but the Islanders, as Brian Murray talked about, loose, nothing to lose. They came out, they played aggressive, certainly hit, very, very physical. To the Capitals' credit, though, you know, Brian was worried that they may not come out strong, but they certainly looked like they did too, and I guess that's a good sign when you really don't have a great deal to play, right? They still want to clinch first place, no doubt about that, but you would understand why they would take the New York Islanders lightly, but they really didn't. Came out pretty strong in that first period. Just the great goaltending, I guess, really on both sides, as Beaupre, late in the period, made a couple nice stops.
Let's take a look at our TWA shot chart right now, and we'll show you exactly where Washington had those 14 shots coming from.
Well, they had pretty decent concentration in front. Dino Cicerelli had a chance, I think, also went off a goal post that doesn't get counted as an official shot. You see some good shots over from that left point, and Scott Stevens was blasting a couple in there. Rod Langway walking in once, and Fitzpatrick had to make a big glove save on him. 14 total shots, and I guess it's to the credit of that young goaltender who kept his cool. I mean, he got some lucky bounces off the inside of pads that went out, but for the most part, he did the rest himself.
Not very many Islanders shots, but I think a little different story than what we saw the other night with the Flyers when they didn't have many. New York looks a little better.
Yeah, I think, you know, again, a pretty aggressive play from New York, although they don't have really the guys with the raw firepower, and the Caps did a pretty good job, I thought, of keeping a big gunner, Pat LaFontaine, pretty well in check. Kerr picking up 2 of the shots, and a good chance down low by Brent Sutter as well, but you know, for the most part, it's a pretty aggressive New York team that's out there, and it's going to be interesting to see if the Capitals keep this pace up for the next 2 periods, because I have no doubt the Islanders will. They may make more mistakes because they're a younger team, but they also look like a pretty hungry team right now. A lot of guys playing for jobs next year.
So if we can get through the next 2 periods without losing a cameraman, we'll be in pretty good shape. That almost happened during the first period of tonight's game. Let's check in downstairs right now with Jeff Rimmer.
Thanks, Mike. Well, we had a chance yesterday during the off day to visit, or actually talk to Clint Malarchuk, the former Capitals goaltender, and he wanted to express all his thanks for all the well wishes that he had here from Washington Capital fans, the Washington Capitals organization, and members of the Home Team Sports crew. Clint says he hopes to be back on the ice before the playoffs and able to play and help the Buffalo Sabres throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs. Just a remarkable story and a remarkable guy, Clint Malarchuk, still resting, but hopes to be back on the ice very, very soon. And he's a very fortunate young man, and again, wanted to thank all the well-wishers here in the Washington Capital area, and we hope to either later on in this telecast or certainly before the next hockey telecast to have Clint join us for a few minutes. The latest now, as far as the NCAA game is concerned, we understand Georgetown has pulled back to within 2 points, and they've now fallen back to being down by 6. So in the closing minutes, Duke is up by 6 points. Let's go back upstairs to Mike and Al for an exciting second period.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. We certainly do add our regards and pass on good wishes to Clint Malarchuk for a very speedy recovery and a return to action in the National Hockey League. To pass on some hellos, all the people out in Salisbury, Maryland, Jim, John, and Rob say hi, and hello to Leonard and Marion, Steve and Lynn Maxwell. From Margaret, Phil, and Angie, they want to pass on the thanks for having Easter dinner on time, and a real special wish, a get-well wish from all of us here at Home Team Sports and the Washington Capitals to Officer Andy Chalhowski, who is recovering from those shotgun wounds. He was one of the officers, he was the officer wounded in this week's hostage tragedy in Alexandria, Virginia. Officer Chalhowski is at the MedStar unit in the Washington Hospital Center, and the Caps want to wish you a very speedy recovery, Andy, even though you're an avowed New York Islander fan. Roots very hard for the Islanders, but certainly in the situation is the great service that he has provided. We certainly wish a very speedy recovery.
We'll cut him a little slack on that account, won't we?
Certainly will.
All right, we're underway here with the second period. At the side of the Islander net, Mike Ridley tries to dig it free, brings it over to Kelly Miller. Now Michael Pavanka looks for Miller in front of the net, but it's taken away by Makela. He starts back, left wing side. Randy Wood. Shot goes wide, deflected by Scott Stevens. And Makela all tied up with Hatcher. There's a whistle and a penalty call coming here at the 26-second mark of the second period. And now Makela and Hatcher come together, and the linesmen have to get in there and keep them apart. The penalty will be to Hatcher as he skates to the bench. That'll give the Islanders their first chance of the game on the power play.
Washington penalty call on number 4.
That Mikko Makela has got outstanding speed, but he has been one of the major disappointments for the team this year. He had 36 goals, 40 assists last year, just 15 goals and 25 assists this year. He can ever harness that tremendous talent to go with that blazing speed. You know, he could be a major factor in this division. It was that speed that had the step on Kevin Hatcher, forcing Hatcher to use the stick, pull him down to the ice for the penalty.
Hooking is the call. Islander power play ranked 4th in the league. Not bad, 22%. They're right up there in that department, although they were 20th, as we mentioned, in killing off penalties, but a good power play for New York. Capitals 10th in the league, 81%. While shorthanded. And that they are right now. Langway on with Rouse, Gustafson, and Christian. Gustafson clears it all the way down. Diddick back with Norton. Up front, it's Walsh. On with Sutter and LaFontaine. 1:25 to go in the Washington penalty. Here come the Islanders on the power play rush. Volek gets across the line. Goes into the corner for Sutter. Back to Volek. Passes back to the point. Diddick fires a shot, blocked, and it's taken out of there by Dave Christian. Christian works to center ice. Gives to Gustafson across the blue line. Gustafson can't get by Volek, or rather by Diddick, and here's Gustafson taking another spill as Diddick was right after him in the corner, and that prompted the crowd reaction. Now a shot by Sutter right into the chest of Beaupre. Langway clears it off the boards and all the way down the ice. 45 seconds to go in the penalty to Kevin Hatcher. Pass on the right wing boards. LaFontaine pinched by Kelly Miller. Scott Stevens has it in the corner. Alan Kerr right on him. Here's Kerr to the corner, hit by Stevens. Back to King. Now to the blue line. McBean keeps it in. King to the side of the net. Backhander for LaFontaine. Gets out of the zone. McBean tries again. Fires in from center ice. Penalty expires, and Hatcher's back out there. Capitals at full strength. Lead pass to center ice. Grabbed by McBean. He turns it around to center, and Calle Johansson takes over now for Washington. Johansson fires a shot. Stick save made by Fitzpatrick. Ciccarelli cross-checked on the sideboards by Pilon, and now stood up by Rich Pilon, who won't let Dino in. Fitzgerald clears to the point. Felix a low drive, and that's kicked wide by Fitzpatrick. Alan Kerr sends it to center ice. Taken over by Franceschetti to Dino Ciccarelli. He goes in on Pilon, and this time Pilon's going to get a penalty call. He pulls down Dino Ciccarelli. Now Franceschetti gets roughed up by Pilon. Boy, he plays it tough. Washington will have the power play advantage now as Pilon heads to the box. Time of the call, 3:14 of the second period. There's a break in the action. The Capitals and the Islanders are scoreless.
What's the difference between a fresh biscuit and Hardee's biscuit made fresh from scratch? This should give you some idea.
All clear. Right.
Hardee's Rise and Shine biscuits, made fresh from scratch because we're out to win you over.
Rich Pilon gets the call for tripping at 3:14. Ciccarelli put quite a move on him, and Pilon had to get the stick down in the skates of Ciccarelli. Trip him up to the ice. Another Washington power play. Caps 0 for 3 so far with the extra man in this game.
Here's Dave Volek in the corner, trying to tie up Ciccarelli. He goes to Johansson, back to the point. Hatcher a shot, and that ricochets upstairs. Pilon can't feel too badly, really, about taking the penalty call. I mean, he got away with 5 or 6 other instances where he did a good job of holding Ciccarelli off. That time, he got the stick on him and tripped him. Still classified as a rookie in the National Hockey League and had a pretty impressive start to his career. You know, you think of some of the great Islander teams of the past, and I don't think Pilon would have had much trouble at all blending in with some of those real good clubs they had.
Strong, tough player like that. They see Diddick come on. They know possible great future ahead for Wayne McBean, and that's how you start to rebuild, along with a couple of other young players that they've got. Lee Chanel, Kevin Cheveldayoff. These are 2 young, rugged defensemen coming from the Western League, both suffering injuries right now. They recover fine. There's a nucleus you can build on.
Johansson from Hatcher. Slap shot, deflected wide. Ciccarelli tries to work it free. It comes out to Hatcher. He fires, but it strikes a skate and is cleared out of the zone now by Sutter. Up ahead for Volek. Johansson races after him and catches him. Good play by Johansson on the comeback. Out to Dale Hunter. Hunter works to center ice. Gets across the blue line. Throws it wide of the net. Cleared off the glass and all the way down now by Brent Sutter. Scott Stevens takes a pass from Beaupre. Out to Courtnall. He's hip checked at the blue line by Norton. And Randy Wood sends it the length of the ice. Scoreless game, 15:25 to play here in the second period. 35 seconds to go in the Pilon penalty. Washington a man advantage here, and Courtnall starts the power play attack. Throws it behind the net. Here's Gustafson in the corner. Brings it back to the blue line and over to Scott Stevens with a slap shot just wide of the goal. Over now to Gustafson. He brings it to the point. Felix back to Gustafson. Bengt Gustafson walking in and can't get the pass around Nyland. But Christian recovers. Feeds it over to Scott Stevens. He winds. His drive deflected just wide. Gustafson digs it out of the corner. Penalty about to expire. Felix a shot wide. Now Stevens over after it. He shoots. And a pad save made by Fitzpatrick. Out of the box is Pilon. He's in one-on-one with Felix and throws it into the corner. And the Islanders are back at full strength. They've killed off yet another Washington power play. That's their 4th successful attempt in keeping the Capitals off the board with a man advantage. Steal here, and it's Pat LaFontaine rushing to center ice. He's in across the blue line. Throws to the corner, and Derek King sweeps it around behind the net, picked up by Alan Kerr. Alan Kerr centers. LaFontaine's alone, a shot, and a goal! Pat LaFontaine has given the Islanders a 1-0 lead. A quick move, and then a backhand shot from in front of in front of Don Beaupre. And suddenly, New York has taken the upper hand in this game.
Well, you see, as Bob Rouse makes the move to go out and challenge Kerr, one of the Capital forwards has lost Pat LaFontaine. That's the required check. Langway was over there as well. Once Rouse went out to make that move, now Langway's up the boards. He's taken King out of the way. And it's probably going to be Matt Gridley as the opposing center out there to keep an eye on Pat LaFontaine. You give him all that time with the variety of moves he's got, it was bound to find the twine. And the Caps, despite out shooting the Islanders 17-7, find themselves down 1-0 on the LaFontaine goal.
It's his 40th of the season. Kerr and King get the assists at 5:51 of the first period. Dino Ciccarelli in front. His shot hits the pads of Fitzpatrick. Now into the corner. Alan Kerr has it taken away. Bank Gustafson drops it back to the point. Bob Rouse's shot wide of the net. And it's cleared outside the line by Kerr to center. Here's Rouse going into the corner. Over to Langway. Derek King taken away by Ciccarelli. He starts back. Right wing side. Rouse hustles into the corner after it. But Jeff Norton comes up with a puck. Here's Norton for New York. To Sutter. Rink wide. And out to center ice. Jerry Nyland drives it in. Beaupre makes the catch. 1-0 the score. New York has the lead. 13 minutes to go in the second period. Dave Volek across the line, and New York is offside.
It was 85-77 Duke.
The crowd cheering as they have a final. Duke defeating Georgetown. I guess this is established this is ACC country.
I thought this was one of the home courts for
That's
Georgetown right here at the Capitol Center.
Well, now there are 4 great places to go to cheer the Caps on to the Stanley Cup, the Cap Center, and all 3 Joe Theismann's restaurant locations. They're in Vienna, Bailey's Crossroads, and Old Town Alexandria. What could be better than enjoying fine American food in a relaxing, friendly atmosphere and watching the Cap games? Joe Theismann's restaurant, where good friends meet great food.
That looked planned to me. I don't know if that was spontaneous or not. McBean hooked as he crosses the line, and Scott Stevens takes over. Wickenheiser moves it out to center ice. Comes right back in by McBean, and the Capital Scott Stevens goes to take it. Here's McBean off the skate of Mike Walsh. Scott Stevens leads a pass to center ice. Here's Franceschetti across the line. Inside the Islander zone. Wrist shot by Wickenheiser, and Fitzpatrick makes the save. Franceschetti nailed to the backboard. Pilon upends Sundstrom. And the puck is cleared out into the Washington zone. Didick lines up Franceschetti, comes up high with a stick. They fight for the puck along the sideboard, and now Makela works it free. Mark Bergevin throws it back into the Washington zone. Johansson up the sideboards for Druce. Druce off the skates of Franceschetti. Taken over at the Washington blue line by Randy Wood. Here's Wood to the corner. Floats it across in front of the Capitals net, but it's taken out of there now by Johansson. Calle Johansson in across the blue line, gives to Courtnall. Checked by Bergevin. Thrown behind the goal. Here's John Druce. Checked on the play, and Courtnall goes in after it. Back to Hunter. Dale Hunter to Johansson. Wrist shot. Hit the puck. Into the corner again for Hunter. Finally, it's frozen as Druce hangs on with Didick and play is called.
Quick shot from the point. Calle Johansson doesn't waste any time. No windup, just snaps that wrist shot on. Patrick slides the skate over there. Goes off that post, maybe almost to more the side of the net.
He's certainly a smooth skater, isn't he?
Well, we've seen him a number of times since he's been a member of the Capitals. Guys with one, maybe two strides on him, and he has that ability with the terrific acceleration to catch up with him. He did it here to David Volek a little earlier in the game. But Volek, another guy who was known for as being an outstanding skater. You can catch a guy like that who's got a lead on you. Got to be one of the best skaters in the league. Get him doing that to Mats Naslund in the Montreal Forum. Not too many people catch Mats Naslund.
That tells me a lot. 11 minutes and 3 seconds to go here in the second period. The Islanders have a 1-0 lead on Pat LaFontaine's 40th goal of the season. Lead pass, LaFontaine, right side for Kerr. Into the corner. Johansson back to take it. Kevin Hatcher. Back for Washington. Throws it into the Islander zone. Fitzpatrick tosses it off the sideboards. Now Gustafson works it free to the point man. Hatcher. His backhander knocked down by Derek King. Norton loses the puck. Taken over by Gustafson. Gustafson keeps it inside the zone. Over to Christian in front, and Ciccarelli tips it just wide. Back comes King on the attack now for New York. Right side pass. Norton keeps it going back into the Washington zone. Now we've got one of the metal standards that holds the panes of glass together has bounced and hit the ice after that hard hit in the corner. So they'll finish that up with a little repair job, and while they're doing so, we'll check in with more scoring updates. Here's Jeff Rimmer.
Thanks, Mike. First of all, one afternoon game in the National Hockey League. That is now a final. It was Winnipeg losing by 4 to the Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks could surprise a few teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs. As far as the Final Four is concerned, yesterday, Seton Hall and Michigan advanced. Today, it was Illinois beating Syracuse by 3. And as Al Koken told you just a few minutes ago, Duke over Georgetown. So those two teams advance along with the others from yesterday, and it's on to the West Coast for the Final Four next weekend. Our next home team sports telecast, the New Jersey Devils making their final regular season appearance in the Caps' final regular season home game next Saturday night. You'll see it right here on HTS, beginning with a pregame show at 7 o'clock. And again, the Patrick Division semifinals, games 1 and 2. The Capitals closing in on first place. They're assured of first or second. And they'll open up with games 1 and 2 next Wednesday. That's a week from Wednesday. And Thursday nights, yet to be determined, will be their opponent. We'll go back upstairs now for more of the second period. Once again, Mike Fornes and Al Koken.
Looks like they fixed the pane of glass. They're going to have one of the rink attendants come out now to make sure, have another look at it so it doesn't pop loose again. That game that Jeff Rimmer was talking about, Vancouver at Winnipeg. Steve Weeks in goal for the Vancouver Canucks, and for Winnipeg, Bob Essensa. Well, they're sliding that plate back into place there, and this fella's got the hands for the job. He's just pounding that thing right in there.
It's a pretty critical spot too, Mike. If somebody was dumping it high along the boards there, high along that glass, if it's not in properly, that could really cause a crazy carom right there at that corner, bouncing where that's positioned out to the slot area.
Repair job's complete, and we're ready to go once again with a face-off to the left of Don Beaupre. 10 minutes, 11 seconds to go in the second period. Washington has outshot New York 20-8. But the Islanders lead 1-0. Rich Pilon's wrist shot goes wide of Beaupre in the net. Volek chases to the corner, but here's Langway with the puck. He sends it off Courtnall to the point. McBean keeps it in. Langway tries to work it free, brings it back now to Bob Rouse. Off the left wing boards to the point. McBean, another drive. He hits the post. McBean cranks one off the goalpost from back on the right point. Here comes Hunter. Throws it back inside the Washington zone. Over to Dale Henry. Out to Volek at center. Right side pass. Tried to spring Sutter loose, but Brent Sutter offside as he crossed into the Capitals' end of the rink.
The Islanders with quite a bit of jump in their legs in this second period. And now Pilon, Langway, Diddick, Punter all get together. Linesman separating them. Wayne McBean playing that right point with a left-handed shot. Sends a bullet. It eludes Beaupre and rattles off the post. See the Islanders really picking up play. Despite, as Mike mentioned, the shots favoring Washington dramatically at 20-8. McBean just steps right into it.
It's a goalpost view, isn't it? Yet Don Beaupre will tell you he gave him everything he had allowed. He certainly put out all that was necessary. The puck got by him, but did not go in the net right off that post. 1-0 score, and here comes Ridley, leading too far for Pavanka back inside the Islander zone. Kept in at the point by Ridley. He charges to the corner, is tripped up by Mick Vukota. Gerald Diddick lofts it in the air to center ice. Stevens knocks it down. Scott Stevens putting it all the way back inside Islander ice. Vukota takes a run at Felix, misses, and as a result, Ridley gets the puck. Now over to Kelly Miller. To Pavanka. Pavanka hit by Bergevin. Now Miller looking for Ridley in front of the goal. Mike Ridley to Michael Pavanka. Walsh continues to hammer on Pavanka. Walsh back to center ice, and now Felix tosses it inside the Washington zone. Here come the Islanders out.
And Vukota and Pete Peters exchanging little pops over there by the Caps bench.
A lead pass to center ice. Mike Stevens drives it into the Washington zone. Pete Peters, the backup goaltender, just working the bench door at the end of the Capitals bench, right near the Islander bench, with only a pane of glass separating them. Jeff Norton backboards it to Randy Wood. Kevin Hatcher dumps it back inside the Islander end. Here's Norton behind the net. Passes off the right wing boards for Mikko Makela. Out to center ice. Makela across the blue line. Offside, New York Islanders.
WMAX Mix will get you up in a good mood with McCarthy in the morning. Tabloid Trash Roulette. Birthday wake-ups, plus pilot Duke Brooks in the Mix Traffic Copter. McCarthy in the morning on WMIX Mix 106.5. Baltimore's best mix of the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
I would say for what we've seen so far, which has just been a little over half a hockey game, this has been the best fundamentally played game I've seen the Islanders play against the Capitals this year, and I would think you could trace that to Al Arbour. He certainly has always stressed that in his years with New York. They're playing the body, taking the man, playing very good fundamental game.
I think the other thing that's been impressive about their performance, the way the forwards are holding up the Capital forecheckers, giving their young defensemen a little time to do something with the puck.
Here's Dino Ciccarelli into the corner. Brings it out to Johansson, a shot, and a save made by Fitzpatrick on a backhand drive by Dave Christian. Davey thought he had an opening, and he sent it right towards the 5-hole, but Fitzpatrick made the pad save.
Well, you see Ciccarelli spinning, holding it on the forehand, setting up Christian perfectly, or Gustafson rather perfectly, who sets up Christian. There's that shot. Fitzpatrick gets the skates on it, pops it up, and grabs it with the glove. Then there was a little space between the legs. This is a beautiful bang-bang play. Ciccarelli to Gustafson, or to Johansson, excuse me. No hesitation there. That's the puck movement. But Ciccarelli and Johansson also have brought to this team.
Fitzpatrick lost to Calgary on Tuesday of this past week in his last outing. The Western Hockey League's top goaltender. 36, 15, and 6, and a 3.23 average with the Medicine Hat Tigers in the WHL. Dale Henry goes right side for Volek. And as Sutter breaks in, he's offside.
Here's the guy I am surprised is still on the Islanders team, simply because it seemed like at the start of the year, when the Islanders looked like they were going to have to make some sort of deal, this was the man they were going to be able to get the most far. With a lot of talk, deals possibly involving the Minnesota North Stars. Brian Bellows was shopped around everywhere. We thought that Bill Torrey would make the move earlier in the season, but held on with Brent Sutter, remains the captain of the Islanders, and Sutter doing a pretty strong year, 27 goals and 32 assists, 16 of those goals coming on the power play. One of the factors why the Islander power play is fourth best in the league.
Langway leads a pass out to Gustafson, but he's taken over just inside the line, and Derek King fires a shot wide of the net. King for New York. Into the corner for Alan Kerr. Now LaFontaine back to Derek King. He shoots wide. King into the corner to Kerr. Back to LaFontaine. Then Gustafson gets a stick on it, moves it along. And Kerr plays it to King. Now to LaFontaine. Off the skate of Rouse. Derek King right back in there. Now hit by Rouse. Finally it's stolen. Here's a breakaway for Dino Ciccarelli. He's got Diddick to beat. A slap shot and a glove save made by Fitzpatrick. Dino came in one-on-one and had to get around Diddick. He wound up and let her fly, but Fitzpatrick was there to make the catch. There's a break in the action with the score. Islanders 1, Capitals nothing.
Remember when I made the Coco Vaughn? Yeah. I had a dinner party for like 19 people, my first dinner party ever. And the recipe calls for pearl onions, for fresh pearl onions. I never used them before, and I found them at Safeway.
From the everyday to the exotic, you'll find more fresh produce at Safeway.
And then when I got them home, I had to call her to find out what to do with them.
Go take a look. Come see the difference at Safeway.
We've contacted Clint Malarchuk. He will join us live here in the second intermission. Stay tuned for that. More second period action. Let's go back upstairs.
Okay, be good to hear from Clint. Here's Dino Ciccarelli, and he looks over. He sees Diddick is going to be able to cut him off, and he's not going to be able to get in to make a stick handling play. So before Diddick can get the stick on the puck, Ciccarelli unloads a high rising drive, and again another strong glove save from Fitzpatrick.
Dave Volek throws it rink wide for Pilon. Now out to center. He's across the line. Sutter's shot goes wide. On the back of the net, Dale Henry tries to work it free, but Chris Felix has got him tied up on the backboards. Hunter works it loose. Makes it behind the goal. Dale Hunter over to Scott Stevens. Flips it out to center ice. Islanders take over. Dale Henry shoots it back into the Washington zone. Hunter to Stevens. On the right wing, a pass to Courtnall. Courtnall, a left-hand shot. Cuts across the line. Feeds it to Hunter. Hunter goes to the net. Fires! And a pad save made by Fitzpatrick. Cleared out of the zone all the way back into the Washington end of the rink, and as Scott Stevens goes in to pick it up, icing is the call against New York.
The Capitals keep shooting at that 5-hole, trying to get the puck between the legs of Mark Fitzpatrick. He continues to stone him. Once again, watch Dale Hunter winging his way in on that left side. Courtnall just leaving it for Hunter, letting him step into it. Puck bouncing a little bit. I don't know if the accuracy was all that Dale Hunter wanted because it was on its edge, but getting that low shot trying to go between the legs. The 23rd Capitals shot on goal of this game.
Mike Ridley against Tom Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald gets the faceoff, brings it back to Nyland. Here's a left wing pass. Slap shot. Sticked aside by Beaupre. Now over to Hatcher. Sent up the left wing boards, and Pavanka in a skate race for it, but Norton gets there first. Miller takes him out. The puck cleared to the blue line. Kept in by Pavanka. shovels it behind the net for Kelly Miller. Norton kicks it along the baseboard, and now Pavanka works it free to the corner. Mike Ridley run hard. Johansson keeps it inside the line. Here's Pavanka trying to center for Ridley, but Norton grabs it first. Here comes Fitzgerald to center ice. Offside the call against New York. Well, the Islanders got Fitzgerald. Some of these names, Fitzgerald, Fitzpatrick, Walsh. These ought to be Boston Bruins players someday along the line, don't you think?
Hate to face this team on St. Patty's Day. And Mike Walsh, talk about a guy that's going to be thrilled. I think it may be the only thing better would be our New York Rangers, a New York City kid playing in the New York area. What a thrill it's going to be for him. Played 4 years at Colgate, went to Sweden and played a year. I guess went to Switzerland with the Malmo team and then signed up as a free agent by the New York Islanders, bringing him on home.
The puck cleared back inside. The Islander end. McBean is in after it. Lou Franceschetti held up behind the goal, but gets free and throws it right on net. Fitzpatrick sticks it out of there. Here's McBean behind the goal. 3:45 to play in the second period. Felix cutting toward the goal. Back to the point for Stevens. Brings it over to Sundstrom, and now we've got a fight going in front of the net. Pilon and Franceschetti are going to start throwing them here, and Pilon trying to punch to the body of Franceschetti, who grabs up top, now delivers a couple of lefts. And finally, Pilon pulls Franceschetti to the ice. Chris Mitchell obliging with a few bars of the Easter parade on the organ. And those two will head back to the dressing room.
See that one coming. Lou Franceschetti tripping up Pilon. Play developed as soon as Richard Pilon got back. Tried to get something going with Franceschetti, who obliged.
Here are the calls.
Number 47. Rich Pilon. Washington, number 25, Lou Franceschetti. They each get 5 minutes for fighting at 16:23. Islanders penalty, number 47, Rich Pilon. Washington penalty, number 25, Lou Franceschetti.
It never seems to take much to get Lou Franceschetti going to get this team.
5 minutes each.
Oh, I think so much of the success, really, is the fact that he's still going in the National Hockey League. So much was meant because of his play against the New York Islanders in the playoffs a couple years ago. 5 years ago now, really. Pilon gets the helmet off. Franceschetti gets a couple shots in. Body punches from Pilon and then tosses him to the ice.
3:35 to go, second period. Islanders on top by a 1-0 count, thanks to Pat LaFontaine's 40th goal of the season. Garrett King checked in the corner by Langway. Alan Kerr steps in. And a pass out off the stick of Christian. Now LaFontaine digs for it. Here's Gustafson. He moves it ahead to Ciccarelli, who has a 2-on-1 with Rouse. Ciccarelli, a fake, and he fires, and the pad save made by the goaltender, Fitzpatrick. Back come the Islanders. Here's Diddick to center ice. Gets across the line. Bergevin taken away by Langway, and he sends that off the boards out to center. In comes Dino Ciccarelli on the right wing, and his shot's up high off the glass. Dave Volek rushes back for New York. Across the line to LaFontaine on the return. It hops past Volek's stick. And now Stevens clears it out from in front of the net. Scott Stevens back to center ice. Norton dumps it in. Scott Stevens gives to Dino Ciccarelli. He's across the line to Hunter. And Volek sweeps that away. Dave Volek throws it into the Washington zone. 2:15 to go here in the second period. Scott Stevens out for Courtnall. Spun around, and at the point, Norton keeps it in. This one makes its way over the glass and into the seats.
Talking about all those young defensemen. Jeff Norton, 26 assists, leading the Islanders. They were expecting a few more goals out of Norton, but again, here's another young player coming off the U.S. Olympic team. Stepped in and did a nice bit of work with the Islanders late last year. And another guy that you build a pretty strong defensive nucleus around. Moves the puck very, very well. I think he was the type of guy that they thought, because of that ability to move the puck and work the power play, Thomas Janssen became expendable for some future considerations. It's also interesting, Mike, I heard something about what the future considerations in that Kelly Rudy deal is going to work themselves out to be, and that could be fascinating. I think it's going to be, if the Kings get eliminated, talk about it in a second.
Here's a shot by Pivonka off the goal post, and Fitzpatrick got away with one there. Pivonka cranked one right off the pipe. Now Fitzgerald turns to start back. Brings it across the line. Wood checked in the corner, and now Pivonka has it behind the net. Leads it out to Mike Ridley. Ridley inside the Islander zone and taken away. Mikko Makela starts it back to center, but right onto Pivonka's stick. Here's Norton to take over. Right side for Pivonka, or rather for Makela, cutting across the line. Washington changing up. Courtnall's out there now. Langway and Rouse defensively. Courtnall with Druce and Hunter. 50 seconds to play in the second period. Here's Dale Hunter cutting in toward the net, fires, and Fitzpatrick makes the save. Hunter back to the right point. Bob Rouse, a high drive off the glass. Volek crunched by Druce. The puck cleared to the blue line. And Volek takes over once again. Up to center ice for Dale Henry. He turns it around to Brent Sutter. Langway steals and pushes it back to center ice. Here's Druce on the right wing. His drive goes off the glass and into the crowd. Now, future consideration.
If the Kings were eliminated in the first round of the playoffs, they could protect 16 players. The Islanders get to pick from that. If they go to the second round, Kings protect 14 players. The Islanders pick from what's left. If they move on, protect 12 players. The Islanders pick from what's left. If they get to the finals, they can only protect 10 players, and the Islanders can pick from what's left.
That's certainly a revolutionary set of future considerations, isn't it?
Pretty fascinating. Here's the Michael Pivonka drive, walking in. This time goes to the far side. Almost beats Fitzpatrick that way. But,
I like LA's chances in the playoffs, and that means the Islanders could improve rather quickly. If
they pick up 2 young players, and if they raid the Kings for any more.
Scott Stevens pops it up into the crowd with only 14 seconds to go in the second period, and Dino is right in the middle of it again. This time Alan Kerr. That's got to be one of the smaller lines in the National Hockey League out there right now for New York. You've got Alan Kerr, Pat LaFontaine, and Derek King. And Dino's probably a little bit shorter than all of them. That whole line is not much bigger than Cicerelli.
Cicerelli making his move backing away a little bit. Trying to get away from King. Some open area. Gustafson trying to point out where he wants it. Scott Stevens right behind Gustafson to try and keep this puck in the zone. Kevin Hatcher back out outside the blue line as a safety valve.
Only 14 seconds to go. And McCloy works as Stevens does keep it in. Sends it on net. Fitzpatrick to save. Now into the corner. Fitzpatrick back of the goal. Has it knocked away. Cicerelli right in front, but the horn sounds anyway. No Washington scoring play there, and none during the entire period. While Pat LaFontaine's 40th goal of the season from Kerr and King at 5:51 of the second has given the Islanders a 1-0 lead. Shots on goal in the second. New York 6, 2-period total of 11, and Washington with 12, 2-period total of 26. Back with more after this.